Okay, hello everyone. Today, what we'll try to do is reverse this linked list. So we'll be provided a head of a linked list, and we have to reverse that. So what is a linked list? So let's just try to define a linked list. Okay, let's just so it is just a composition of many nodes. All right, so there are, let's say, four nodes which has the value of 1, 2, 3, and 4. So each node should be pointing to the other nodes. Okay, so one should be pointing at 2, and 2 should be pointing at 3, and 3 should be pointing at 4. So this is what a linked list is, basically. So what we have to do is reverse this whole conjunction. So let's just say 4 should be pointing at 3, 3 should be pointing at 2, and so forth. Okay, so how can we do that? Okay, so fourth should be, so as it is the last element, so it should be pointing at, let's say, null. Okay, so it should be pointing at null. Okay, so to reverse it, what will happen when you reverse it is one should be one. Okay, let's just move this. Let's get all the four nodes again. Okay, so it will be 1, 2, 3, 4. So after reversing, it should be like this, right? Okay, so and one should point to a null over here. Okay, so now let's try to discuss how we'll be doing this problem. So for this, we need to keep track. Okay, so one way you can think of is like we can just change this arrow and it should be done, right? But the issue is, let's just say we are defining these two, this node which has the value of 2 to be pointing at, let's just say, 1. Okay, so I don't think I can yeah, I can rotate it. Let's just say it's pointing at 1 over here. But the issue is when we are changing the next node for these two, we will be losing all the values over here. Okay, so what we should do is save them over a temporary variable or a previous variable over here and then work with them. Okay, so we should do it in a iterative method. So let's see how we can do that. Okay, so what we need to do is track three variables over here. Okay, one is the previous value because we will be saving the previous value to be assigning the next for each node. Okay, so the next for each node. Okay, so this will be the prev and it will be null by default. Okay, so this should have the value of null by default. And then what we need to do is the current. Okay, I think what I should do is, okay, so I have created all these three variables over here. And what we'll do is try to again go through the whole nodes over here. Okay, so by default, the prev would have the value of null. Okay, so it should be null. Let's make this clear, right? Okay, this should have the value of null. Okay, and then the current, as this pointer is pointing at 1, so the current value should have this 1. Yeah, should be moving over here, and the next should be this 2. Okay, so yeah, this is our current situation. The previous value is this, and this will be our current value, and the next value should be 2. Okay, and we should be we are saving this 2 actually. As you can see, it will be needed later on. So yeah, that's why we're saving it. Okay, so let's just use this node over here. So let me get a shape. So this is our current situation. So we have this node, okay, over here, and it will have the value of, let's just yeah, this value. Sorry, modified node. Okay, so yeah, so what we will do is at first we have defined all of this, right? The previous is null, the current is 1, and then the next is 2. This is our first iteration. In our first iteration, we have defined that, and then what we'll do is point this node to the previous node. Okay, so for this it is a null. For now, this value is null. So let's just copy. So yeah, this should be pointing at null for now. Okay, so this should be pointing at null. And then what we'll do is change this previous value to have this 1 because it will be the previous of this second node. Okay, and then what we'll do is, yeah, this current should be updated to have this over here, this second value. Okay, let's just get rid of this and we'll just copy and paste it over here. Okay, so this will be our second iteration. And on the second iteration, so when we are moving to the second iteration, so when we are on the second node, what we'll do is, okay, let's just create this node over here. And then this will, on the second iteration, the current node is pointing at 2. Okay, so the current node is pointing at 2 over here. Then what we'll do is we will be changing this next over here. So this next will be now 3. Okay, so it gets updated. Okay, so again, like the previous one, what we'll do is try to update this. Okay, so this two will be pointing at this one. Okay, so this is the previous value. As it is the previous value, they should be pointing at 1 over here. Okay, and then what we'll do is update our current this previous value to be 2 because it will be needed on the next iteration. Okay, and then what we'll do is this current should be 2 and the next is 3, and we should update the current also. The current should be, and now this value. Okay, let's just update our current over here. It's our second iteration. Okay, and then this will be our, let's get up this. Okay, so this will be our current node pointing. This will be what the node will be pointing at. The next should be now 4 from here. Okay, so this will be needed for updating the current. Again, the same thing. Yeah. Okay, so we will point this 3 to the second node. Yeah, because the second node is stored in this previous, and we'll be pointing it to that. And so forth, we will be updating our current, next, and previous value, and that's how we can reverse this linked list. Okay, let's just go to our code section. So yeah, so this is our problem over at Leetcode. I will provide the link down in the description. Okay, so what we'll do is define the proof value to be none. Okay, so we are using Python 3. Python will be the best, like, is the easiest way to solve any problem without using C++ or something like that. So yeah, the proof value would have the value of none, and let's just define the correct to have this head value, the first value. Okay, now let's run a loop like while current. Okay, so until this current is not none, so that's when our loop will stop. Okay, so what we'll do as described, at first we'll save our next value of the current value, and then we will be using and we will update the current next. As we are overwriting, that's we are saving this. So we'll be updating it to previous value, and the previous value will have the current value. Okay, and then if next becomes none, we'll return the current value. Okay, so by this, what will happen is when we are iterating through the code, let's just say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So when we reach 5, let's say 5 is our current node, so this next node will be updated as null because 5 doesn't have any value. Okay, so then we will return this 5. So yeah, and we will update our current code. So current should be next. Okay, so this is everything. I think we can, yeah, this is our whole code and this is our end case. So when this occurs, our code will return the current. Okay, let's just run our code. I have figured out the issue. The issue that we're facing is we are returning the current, right? So like when it becomes none, the current will have the value of none if you quit it over here. So we have to move this current over here. Okay, so if it is not none, then it will get updated and go through our loop. Okay, now let's try to run the code and just submit it. As you can see, it worked. So yeah, that's how you reverse a linked list. Hope I made something clear.